All right, welcome to another podcast of Adeel Pirzada podcast. Today we got another exciting episode about construction, real estate, and entrepreneurship. I'm here with my
Yeah.
host, Kevin Padillo.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's show. Glad to be here. If you're listening to us for the first time, we are Pircon Group. We are real estate developers and general contractors. We work on many different projects from commercial up to multifamily. So stay tuned and to hear more about our projects, and we're going to be discussing the housing shortage today.
Yeah, we actually recently had a radio interview and then we discussed about housing shortage and something we have discussed before in the podcast too, but today we decided that we're going to talk about exclusively about the housing shortage, pretty much same thing in the radio and more that we had just discussed. So it's actually a big issue, housing shortage in Canada right now. There's a lot of cities, City of Toronto have had that issue. We actually had that issue for a very long time. It's just kind of appearing to the surface now. With everything that happened with COVID, it just made it more intensive. And now we have rental shortage, we have new home shortage, the new construction, and also we have a shortage on the MLS. So things are not moving on MLS that it used to be. There is not much inventory. There's new units that being built, but again, it's not enough, and it really depends in the area too and the city as well. Overall, Canada, I would say we have a shortage. Now, USA has a shortage too, but that there it could be different because it's a huge country and they already have a lot of inventory. Their biggest concern is that things are not moving on their MLS like it's supposed to be. So there isn't much inventory. And they do actually have a shortage as well, especially into those states where people moved into for the last couple of years. So they're definitely having an issue, but not everywhere is the same issue. And each market is different. Each area and each state is different how they operate too. And what you can do and cannot is also different, which kind of changes the dynamics of this about this whole thing. Whereas like the Canadian market is pretty much same across the board. Obviously, the bigger cities, and they're filled with people. A lot of immigrants come to land into these big cities, so it's becoming more and more an issue of housing shortage. Yeah, we actually had some stats that we shared.
Yeah.
We just pulled it up. So
Yeah, we were live on Adeel was live on both of us were 90.9 CJSW FM. We were glad to be featured on Radio Filipino, and we shared some good knowledge for the Filipino community on housing. If you ever get a chance, go check that out. We're going to be repeating the same information today.
yeah, yeah. So just on the surface, we're at 3.5 million shortage of units, right? Now that could be a house, basically a unit. That's what we need. That's how many homes or the apartment units are required to just fulfill what we need. And we're not building, so we're short, and then we're also not building the way we should be because it takes a lot to build these homes and it takes time for a land subdivision or anything new to is getting built. So by the time it goes into the plan, by the time it's actually completed, we already have spent a few years, right? And bigger the subdivision and some of these new developments that I'm talking about, it takes a lot of time. Some smaller stuff, inner city stuff can happen quicker, but still, it still takes time. This is where the red tape comes in that it kind of adds up to it, but it's not the only thing because construction itself takes time. And that's another topic to discuss, that what can we do about construction, so we don't have to spend that much time building something. But overall, we're 3.5 million homes, new units in the shortage, as per the CMHC, which is the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corp. Um, there is about $74 million is already have been in London, Ontario, that they're planning on because they're short everywhere. So that's the government funding that would be given. So there are these things are happening actually in even in Alberta, in our city, Calgary too. Our mayor actually announced something that they're going to have, more money and funding available for these homes and affordable homes. That's another issue. So housing shortage is itself an issue. Then we got the affordability of it. That's another issue. Rental is there's not enough rentals right now in Calgary. The average 2-bedroom rent is $2,200, almost $2,300, which is basically 9.6% higher than last year. So every year that the prices has been jumping up on the rental, and then the prices are going up on the real estate. So it's actually becoming even harder not to even just build it for average person to buy it as well. Now, what can we do? That's the question. So we have a shortage. There is an issue with housing. There's not enough homes being built. We can see it right now, what we're dealing with. There's not enough, availability on the rental market. There's not enough inventory on the MLS. So what can we do? How can we try to resolve that issue? The simple and straight solution to this is that we just need to build more homes. Just simple as that. We need to develop more. And now the development itself, okay, fine, we'll develop more, but that's still an issue. Like I said, it takes a lot of time, the cost. So then we need to fix those things within the development. So we need to cut time, have less red tape, have quicker applications process, have a quicker construction process. Then the construction cost is an issue. So we need to have a lower, newer ways to do things. So we have the cheaper and the lower cost of building and constructing something. Right. So those are the issue. And then also municipalities and government helping and having incentives for developer, because it's not easy work to build something. It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time. And, by the end of it, if you look at it, you're paid in pennies for the amount of time and energies put in by the developer. Unless you're well established and then you got a lot going on, then you can make sense of these things over time. But for someone even to get just new in the industry to do that, it's super hard. It takes a lot of time and effort and experience, which costs money. So there is all those sort of issues. The way we thought about it, that how we can resolve it, is we try to put it in 4 different points that we think that it can be resolved. Kevin, you have any comment?
Oh, looking good. Just to add on to what also Adeel was saying about Calgary's new strategy, is that there's going to be many new areas of the city that are going to be easily rezoned into multifamily developments. So the original procedure was taking a long time. Now there's many select areas added to their list of where it could be able to become an RC2 lot, and the multifamily lots that could be rezoned in a faster way, which will help streamline things for developers so the process can get started in a faster way.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually just looking at a chart there right now. Just let's take an example of Ontario. They were needed, the 2022 forecast, that they needed about 1.85 million homes, and they were only able to have 1.48 mil. So they're short about 400,000 homes. So that's just a shortage in Ontario itself. That right now, what they forecasted, what they needed for the year, and what they ended up having. Every province is the same issue. Overall, Canada-wide is an issue. Alberta has that issue too. They were supposed to have 0.02, 0.2 million, and they only ended up getting 0.13. So there is a big gap in between all those markets. And then to reduce the shortage, because that should fix a lot of the problems, especially with the cost. When we have more supply it will have it will calm the demand down. So that would also do that because we have more of this stuff being sold, more constructions taking place, then the prices itself which should come down. So we should have the cheaper cost effect right away soon as we start having more of these. Now, what can we do? That's something we actually had a discussion on too on the radio the other day. That what an average person can do and how can they help if you're not a developer and if you're not a builder, if you're not into this, what can you do? So number one way is actually if you own a home right now and you have a house, you can actually convert your basement into a secondary suite if you already haven't done so. So by doing that, you would have created a second occupancy. So basically additional unit that we need in order to fight this housing shortage. And City of Calgary, just talking about Calgary itself, they, a few years ago, they passed this law where you can convert pretty much any basement into a legal secondary suite. And then there is actually a lot of new homes, a lot of new development that's taking place with that option. And there is different regulations between an existing home converting into, a legal basement and the new one being built. There's obviously more criteria and more regulations on the new one, and it's going to be the really high cost. But for the existing stuff, it's actually really simple. It doesn't take that much money to convert into that legal suite. If you already had even a basement built, you would definitely require a separate entrance and things like that. But that's how you can help actually, and then you can have you will start generating on the same piece of land and on the same property. By adding this secondary suite, you'll start generating income, and this money can go towards your mortgage. So with a very little investment up front, you'll be saving for the years to come, right? So that and that way you're also helping the housing shortage. You're fighting the issue that we're getting right now.
Depending on how your basement is built, it will need renovations and changes just to meet what the city looks for a secondary suite.
Yeah, exactly. But and it really depends from house to house, from basement to basement. Some places are easier to get done. Some will be a little bit harder, but across the board, there is that option available that should be utilized, and that's how we can help with this skyrocketing, rental prices and housing prices. The other way to do it is actually do an infill construction, which means that these older lots in the city, you basically get that old house, demolish it, and build into a new one. You would so how you want to look at it is that it becomes pretty hard. If you think about it, it's not possible by an average person to do that. And this is where you can get help with these professionals, and the professionals come in, right? They will buying the whole process of this duplex lot it's a cumbersome. It's not for everyone to handle. You need an entire team to get that done. You need a real estate people, you need the designer, you need the contractors. But it's possible, starting with duplexes, converting one home to two homes. That would be the way to do it. Trying to have it done by yourself on the first go is not a good idea. So this is where you would come in, join a professional team, someone like Pircon, and then we can help you throughout the process how you can do that. Basically, what you would be doing, buying, or let's say you already have an existing lot, you would basically demolish that house because it's old anyway and it's not efficient. And then the easiest one to do is that take the house out and build two homes, on one lot. Yeah. There's different designations for the zoning and the lots. So some lots would be, if they're big enough and there has the right zoning, you can convert that into 4.
For more reference on building a duplex, check out some of our other episodes that we have filmed in the past on those types of construction.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's something to look into. And then there's actually, we did like a 5 episodes just on duplexes. So if you
Yeah,
watch that, you'll
very valuable.
understand how the process actually works, what you need exactly, and how you can get it done. And you can actually get it done without any help, in terms of, but you just got to spend more time. So it's like a full-time job. If you try to do it yourself, you can for sure learn it, and and try understanding it. But if you were to come to a professional like us, then it just makes the whole process easier, and you don't have to waste money or time making all those mistakes that we have corrected over the years. And you can just basically leverage on that and then make it happen for you without having too many issues. The third way of helping is actually, if you, so let's say, you don't own a home, so you can't build a basement. You don't have that extra money, so you can't buy another property for a redevelopment. There's actually an easier way, not my best bet, not the way that I would do it, but it's possible, and it has good thing. And all these ways of doing it, they actually make you money. So you're not only helping in the process of building more homes, and more units, you're actually also making money. So it has a financial benefit to you. And that would be actually the third, is that you invest into your REIT, which is REIT, Real Estate Investment Fund. Now, those are really different. Like, there's Canadian REITs that you can invest into. You can check the companies out, see exactly what they're doing. There's different types of REITs. There's industrial ones, commercial, residential. All different categories and what they do. So you would have to look into it. Maybe you can find a REIT that is building multifamily, that is building actually land subdivision. So they're building more homes, more unit. You spend with them because this is a need in the industry. So you're going to end up making money. Although I'm not in a favor of REIT. I'm not a REIT person. I don't believe in it because it's like stocks, and and you really got to know where you're putting this money in, and there is a lot of stuff happens where you end up losing money. So I kind of don't trust it. But if you do your research hard enough, you can find good companies out there. I know a few but they kind of build, more like a commercial and retail units. But there are ones that, big companies out there that are investing their money into building multifamily and land subdivision. So that's one way of doing it. The fourth way, which is the way that I would suggest that you would want to do, is actually invest into a developer's fund. So this is a bit different from REIT. A developer is more like a local company, someone that you would have a relationship. It's someone that you would know the product and know exactly what they're spending money into. When you spend into REIT, you don't have a control where it goes, basically. It goes into the fund, and then they'll decide where your money goes, and you'll make certain amount. There are some where but your control is very little. If you invest into a developer's fund, or if you put money onto a project, that has already been designated, that what they're buying, what they're doing with it, if you were to spend money on that, the returns are humongous. So compared to the everything else, you're gonna have more return. It's still like a REIT. You don't have to do any physical work. You don't have to do any mental work. You don't have to have any experience. And there's so many other benefits by doing that. So you would also have tax benefits. With REIT, you don't get that really. But when you actually put money into a real estate, with let's say a type of syndication with a developer, because you're more like a partner rather than just an investor in a way, there is more benefits involved for you on the tax side, for you on the earning side, and also the appreciation of the property. So those are the 4 main ways of doing that. The last 2 are, you don't have to do anything. You sit in the couch and you just kind of put your money in, and they kind of do the work for you. The top 2, secondary suites or redevelopment on your existing home, and buying an old home and converting into a duplex or a triplex or fourplex, so infill, those two, you would need the money. You gotta have some sort of knowledge, some sort of effort that's going to be involved on your end, and you know, but still, you can still do those things without having too much experience. But they are physically, mentally challenging, because you're going to have to get involved in that stuff and actually just not even just spend your money, but your energy and effort too. The last two is more like where you, if you're busy with your life, but you want to help in the purpose and you want to make money and equity for yourself, those are the things to be done. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I would just end our episode today on this. The whole purpose of this podcast is to help you understand, in construction and real estate, because they're very close to each other. So by combining those, there are good things that can take place. So that's exactly what we do. That's the mission of Pircon. We're looking at construction. We're doing projects every day. And we want to help in the cause of the issues that we're facing, especially within our city. So our initiative is just to, provide knowledge and help, a basic knowledge, and help to a normal person, and then see, kind of leave it in their hands and see what they can do with it and how they can help for the community, for the city, and also, have a financial benefit for themselves. So I hope that was it. If you guys have any questions, any comments, do let us know. Hit the like button, subscribe our channel, and keep watching for more exciting stuff.
Sounds good, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for today's podcast, episode 45. Join us next week.
Thanks. Bye-bye.